Hello, I'm Alison Taylor. I'm the owner and managing director of a public relations and marketing agency called Conscious Communications, as well as being the founder of the FXP charity, which some of you might have heard of, and I'm also the chair of the Academy Council at North Cambridge Academy. This past year has been so difficult for everyone, but in particular for you students in Year 11. Circumstances completely outside of your control have disrupted your lives, have stolen your plans and replaced them with uncertainty. Everybody hates change, particularly when it's outside of your control. And for people of your age, just starting out and with so much to think about and decide for your futures, I can't imagine how hard this has been. I only hope that my story and the thoughts I'll share with you today will help to reassure you and help you feel more confident that there is a very bright future ahead for each and every one of you. The first thing I really want you to know is that you don't need to have your whole life and career mapped out ahead of you at this stage. When people ask, what are you going to be? It's only a very few young people who can genuinely say that they have an answer. The vast majority have very little, if any, real idea at your age, and that's okay. People will try a number of things and change direction maybe a few times in their career, and I'm one of those people. So I know it's fine to not know at this stage what it is that you want to do. When I was at school, no one would have described me as a model student. I wasn't very strong in anything in particular. I didn't particularly understand what the connection was between the subjects I was studying at school and what I would do with them in my career. I did O-levels, or GCSEs as they are now, and A-levels in a few subjects that I wasn't really that interested in. And if I'm honest, I found it difficult to see what it was all leading to. I knew that I didn't want to go to university. I didn't want to keep on going to lectures and studying for the next 3 years when I left school. But the one thing I did know for sure at that stage was that I wanted to be absolutely financially independent. I wanted to be earning my own money and making my own decisions about where and how I would spend it. I never, ever wanted to be dependent on anybody else for that. And this was really important to me, particularly, I guess, as a young woman. I didn't want anyone else telling me what I could do and when. So when I started out, when I left school, I saved a little money working in a pub and took a risk and moved to London to look for a job and for somewhere to live. I was 19, and this was my first experience of walking into the unknown, and probably the best thing I ever did. It wasn't until much later in life that I heard the saying, if you want something you've never had before, you need to do something you've never done before. And this has been my mantra ever since. It is so true of the life I've experienced, where there are opportunities all around me every day. And if only we choose to take them, we choose to take a risk on them, that we find out what will happen, how things might be, and what exciting and rewarding things we might find along the way. And that, for me, is what makes life really worth living. So for my first proper job, I was working as a secretary in a stuffy office of auctioneers in London. I lived in a shared flat with 3 other girls, and I couldn't afford the bus to work, so I walked for an hour each way every day, morning and night, for the first month until I got my first paycheck. I stayed in that job for about a year, got something on my CV to say that I'd been working, and then I started looking around for something that I thought I might really enjoy. I answered an ad in a paper, I answered many ads in many papers and got rejected from many things, and then finally got myself an entry-level job at a public relations agency, one of the most junior level positions that there was in the company, and began working my way up the tree. I was there for about 5 years, I think. And when I joined the company, I had very little idea of what public relations was or whether I would even like it. But I liked the people and it looked like a good place to be, so I took a risk. And once I was working there, I learned more than I had ever learned, I think, before then in any capacity. And I loved the work so much that my confidence grew and grew. I'm now 55 years old, and I've worked in about 6 different companies through my career, as well as then my own company, which I founded about 10 years ago. I've had some just amazing experiences. I've been so fortunate. I've worked with some really very clever and successful people, and I've been lucky enough to travel all over the world with my work. I've run marketing and public relations campaigns for companies like the big Procter & Gamble with cosmetics and skincare products. I've run the Smirnoff International Fashion Awards in Toronto in Canada. I've worked with the British Nutrition Foundation, communicating nutrition science and healthy eating to many people. And I think I'm really, really very fortunate. But I also know that I've worked extremely hard all my adult life to make sure I've achieved what I want. And that was the financial independence that I really wanted as I set out. I know from experience that anyone and everyone can achieve what they want in life by setting themselves a goal and launching themselves at it. With hindsight, I guess if I could tell my teenage self anything, it would be not to agonize over exactly what you are going to be or do with your life at this stage. Concentrate instead on being the best human being you can be while exploring opportunities, trying new things and taking risks. Don't ever think I can't. You will fail many times along the way, but if you're determined, you really can do anything you want to do. So nearly 10 years ago, I moved to Cambridge, and around the same time, I had the realization that while I had been really successful in my career and really fortunate, not much of what I had done in those 30 odd years had really aligned with my personal values. In fact, I don't think I'd ever really thought about what my personal values were until that stage. But the more I now did, the more I realized how important they were to me and how much more rewarding and fulfilling my work would be if I could align those personal values with my work. So in other words, I wouldn't just be making a living, but I would be doing it in a way that had benefits for other people or delivered positive impact to the environment around me. And this is why I founded Conscious Communications, around the values that I held dear to myself, around respect, responsibility, integrity, investment, commitment, and appreciation. So to give you an example of the work we now do with Conscious Communications, we worked with Anglia Ruskin University on its Brains Eden University Games Development Festival for 5 years. Now, Brains Eden involved the big game development and technology companies in Cambridge and across the UK. Companies like Sony, PlayStation, Jagex, Frontier, Arm, some of which you will have heard of, I'm sure. And a central part of that festival was bringing together industry professionals, people actually working in those companies, with young people who had a passion and a talent for developing computer games. So it worked a bit like a recruitment or a careers fair, and there was mentoring across the 4 days. And I became really involved with those companies, those game development companies, and the individual professionals who were helping to mentor those university students. And the more I became involved, the more I could see what wonderful opportunities they offered for young people growing up in Cambridge, and in particular for our own students at NCA. And this is where the idea for FXP, or Future Experience Points, came from. So initially, 5 years ago, it was tailored specifically for students at NCA. But over the time that we've run it, we've attracted more than 300 students every year from 21 different schools. And it's just been amazing to see how brilliant that the opportunities are that event offers to young people. And for me, the satisfaction that I get from being able to deliver that, and the reward in terms of the hard work that we put in, I cannot tell you how wonderful that is. Other clients we work on, for example, we work with the Cambridge City Food Bank, who do amazing things, and particularly during this pandemic have been doing lots of very important work with people who've needed their help. We work with CHS Group, which is a social housing group We work with First Lego League, some of which you might have been involved with over the years. We work with the Internet Watch Foundation. We work with Cambridge University Press. Lots of big, really interesting companies and charities that make our work really worthwhile and mean that we're able to deliver positive social impact every day. And what our work entails really, it's very varied. We do a lot of creative writing. We work every day with the media, so newspapers, TV, radio, to tell our clients stories. We work with events. We put on a lot of events for our clients, and we produce marketing materials. We build websites. We do social media. We do digital marketing as well. And our profession, if you like, is one of those professions that can be learned either on the job or it can be studied at college. But either way, the real talent and the skill is something that you only gain through years of experience. So it's not something that we need to be employing graduates with degrees at that entry level. Anybody can join our profession and do extremely well. So looking back, do I wish now that I'd gone to university? Well, I think the reality is that over the years, I've thought about it and I've felt that I've missed out a bit. I missed out on 3 years of making new friends, living away from home, growing up a bit, experiencing new things. But also, the reality at the time was that it wasn't the right thing for me. The right thing for me was to get out into the world and gain some experience and work my way up over years in a profession that I would learn to really love and enjoy. And I've done lots of training along the way as well. So I don't feel like I've missed out on that professional development. I've got lots of certificates to prove accreditation for all sorts of things. So looking to the future for you, for year 11s, I really think you face a lot of uncertainty in a way that no year group has in my living memory. But with that uncertainty and change comes even more opportunity. And I really believe that the digital world is expanding and growing so fast that there are jobs being created every day that we've never even thought of. It's just, in just 1 year, the world of work has become almost exclusively digital. And while I don't believe it'll stay that way for long after the COVID crisis is under control, it has definitely changed the way that we work forever. And in doing so, it's opened up completely new industry sectors, new and exciting career paths for you to go and explore. And the options for you to go out and explore those now are even broader than they ever have been in my lifetime. You can choose to go to university or to college, or you can choose to go straight into the workplace as I did. But there are more and more apprenticeships every year, and there are even now degree apprenticeships and all sorts of other ways that you can enter the workplace and learn and study while you're working and earning for yourselves. The most important thing is to approach your decisions as opportunities. And remember that a decision you make today doesn't need to be something that makes or breaks your whole life. All decisions are stepping stones, and there is nothing to stop you changing direction at any point along the way. You should all be so very proud of what you've achieved in the past very difficult year. And I know the teachers and staff at NCA are very proud of you too. I really wish you every success in the future. And remember, if you want something you've never had before, you need to do something you've never done before. Thank you.